MegaTagmension Blanc+Neptune vs. Zombies is the latest spin-off in the Neptunia series. This time, the game is starring the tough and tiny protagonist Blanc as she records her time during her senior year at Game Academy, a high school for the people of game industry that the goddess used to get a better understanding of the people. However, due to declining enrollment, the school will be closing at the end of the year. In order to prevent this from happening, the film club, headed up by Neptune, pitches the idea to Blanc that she directs and writes a zombie movie for an upcoming film festival. To make things even more convenient, a zombie outbreak engulfs the island that the school is on, so the CPUs team up to create a movie worthy enough to save the school and go after the hordes of zombies attacking, killing two birds with one stone. At its core, MegaTagmension Blanc is a direct sequel to Hyperdimension Neptunia Action U in terms of gameplay. They are both hack-and-slash games similar to that of Senna and Kagura, when you have a select cast of characters to choose from, and you must go about defeating waves of enemies or complete a certain objective within a time limit. However, the game does lack a bit of the break mechanic from the previous entry. At its core, the combos are pretty straightforward and simple to learn. However, I did have some trouble learning them all at first, as action games are not my forte. Each character you get to choose from has their own set of attack styles that are unique to their character. Blanc's main attacks and combos are very powerful to do, but are also very slow to start and have a bit of a cooldown after every swing, versus someone like Tamsoft, who fights at a very fast rate, but with weaker attacks in comparison. So this is a very nice variety in playstyles all around, and in the single-player campaign, you can choose a tag team of two characters to switch between, leading to a nice variety of different playstyle combinations. The game's single-player and multiplayer campaigns are both broken up into different scenes. Each scene has their own cut, and those cuts are the mission that you need to play out. The different cuts will have very straightforward objectives, from defeating a certain amount of enemies on screen to clearing out all the boss monsters on the field. These missions are very action-packed, and once you graduate from the single-player and into the multiplayer missions, they only continue to get challenging. However, the one downside I have about these missions is that they get rather repetitive at times, and there doesn't seem to be much variety between them as you go forward. I should probably address the vert in the room here. Unlike previous entries in the Neptunia series, this is the first entry into the series that puts a large focus on multiplayer. In fact, this is the first game in the series to include multiplayer. The multiplayer, in the simplest terms, is just a major extension of the single-player campaign. The missions are pretty much the same, but on a larger scale, and you have a multiple amount of people to fight alongside with you. These missions also include their own cutscenes and unlockables. However, the only difference from the single player is that you can only fight as one character, and you cannot change their form. Instead, their form changes are put behind separate characters on the character's select screen. Overall, the multiplayer is a lot of fun, and there were many different ways you could tackle missions with a team of players to support you. Your goal is to get the best rank possible, so organizing with your team is the best way to go about this. Another thing I enjoyed about this game is the amount of replay value it has. In order to do some of the tougher online missions, you're going to need to be pretty high leveled, so it encourages playing through the same missions again. To make it less mundane, you can try out different combinations of characters in the story campaign to unlock alternate cutscenes. Each scene in the single player campaign has an alternate scene that can only be seen by doing certain cuts with certain combinations of characters. Once you beat the game, you can unlock the game-breaking cheat menu to be used on the single player campaign. Here you can become invincible, defeat enemies in one hit, have unlimited EXE, and so much more. The addictive nature of the gameplay and the need to unlock everything drove me to keep playing missions over and over again to do such. While I really did enjoy the game, there were, however, a few glaring issues of the game that really took me out of it. The biggest one is that of the game's camera. There were many times that I would get a game over because the camera began to work against me. In one fight, I was pinned up against a corner by a giant doggo, and I couldn't see anything else around me no matter which way I turned the camera. It was almost impossible for me to escape until I used the Lily move. The game also experiences some frame rate dips if you get in this situation as well, and this can be noticed a bit more online if you and your partner both use a powerful EXE move at the same time to clear out a large amount of enemies. The game also offers a lock-on system that does more harm than it does good at times. Many times I tried to lock onto the boss monster, but instead would lock me onto a standard zombie, and I had no real way of switching between who I was locked onto, and the angle that the camera is locked onto as well becomes fixed on that one enemy, making it hard to focus on other enemies around if you lock onto the wrong enemy. I had to basically wait till it was me versus the boss before I could lock on to any of them. Overall, MegaTagmension Blanc+Neptune vs. Zombies is a very solid first attempt by Compile Heart at their first multiplayer experience. The multiplayer experience that this game offers to me is a lot of fun and can be addicting at times, and the game in Neptunia fashion is very charming. So if you are currently a fan of the series, I recommend this game to you. However, to those of you who are not, and are looking to get into the series, my best bet to you would be to jump into the series by playing V2 first. But come on! The game has schoolgirls and zombies. That alone is worth the purchase of this game. And that does it for our review of MegaTagmension Blanc+Neptune vs. Zombies. To see a more full, detailed, and in-depth review, be sure to check a link down in the description bar below for the written review. And if you have any questions about the game, by all means leave them down in the comment section below. I would love to answer your questions. And if you want to see a full Let's Play of this game, showing off all the cutscenes and the battle mechanics in more detail, I have a Let's Play of the game as well. A link to the playlist will also be in the description bar below. And if I remember in post, there will be an annotation right here for you to click on and go directly to the Let's Play. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this review. Again, leave any comments down in the comment section below if you have any questions or if you want any feedback. And also be sure to subscribe for future reviews and Let's Plays. And as always, everyone, this is Gamalad signing off.
Deal.